wearing my white cap and gown. I was standing in the gym floor of the local college. And it was loud. There was a lot of noise, and everyone was giddy with excitement, and you could just feel the energy. Everyone was talking about what their graduation parties and what was going to happen next, and this great milestone that we had reached. I, on the other hand, was feeling very ill. I was really sick. I was so sick, in fact, that I felt like my skin was like a shade of green. I was just really feeling ill. And there's a reason for that. I was newly pregnant. And in conjunction with that, I had recently told my parents that I was pregnant, and you can expect the response that they had to that. When you are graduating from high school, it's filled with anticipation. It is filled with what are you going to do next, and plans for the future, and taking the world by the tail, right? Because you're 18 years old and you're taking the world by the tail. So as my friends were planning trips to college or a job or moving out, I was setting the framework for becoming an adult. Because when you're a parent, you are definitely adult. You're not the adult that's going away to college. You're the adult that pays the bills and changes diapers and has a job. So I got married, moved into a small house, and welcomed my daughter by Christmas. Now, you can probably anticipate the next stage of my story in that the marriage was doomed from the start. It only lasted a year. So the first years of my life, of my adult life, were really tumultuous and they were very chaotic. So I had gotten married, I'd had Jennifer, and I was divorced by the time I was 20. But during all of this, I never felt beaten down. I never felt like I didn't have potential because I was naive enough to feel like I had potential. And I didn't have any life experience to tell me that I couldn't do what I wanted to do. And the only thing I knew to do was to put one foot in front of the other. So I did. Well, things had gotten desperate enough, and I'm like, enough is enough. And I called my parents, and I was bawling my eyes out, and I was desperate, and like, please, please come and get me. So my father drove his white Datsun pickup. Remember, those are these tiny little pickups, and he came and got me. I had so few belongings that it didn't even fill up half of the back of that bed. And we loaded the car seat in the front seat, and it was so small, we had to sit like this. And we drove 10 hours from Gearing, Nebraska to Kansas City. But a funny thing happened on my way to divorce is I got space. And not only physical space away from an overbearing ex, but I got space to think about what was good for Jennifer and I. I got space to just be. Because I was naive enough to think I had potential. I didn't have life experience to tell me I couldn't have potential. And I knew that I needed to put one foot in front of the other. Now, that wasn't rosy by any means. I spent a decade working 2 jobs to make ends meet. So I would spend my day job at an insurance company. I would pick Jennifer up after school from daycare to take her to a babysitter so I could wait tables at night. And this happened for a very long time. My family was very instrumental in helping with daycare and providing transportation, etc. Eventually that led into classes at JUCO. That led me to Baker University with my undergrad, and I eventually got my graduate degree at Baker University. So I stand in front of you a different person than I was when I was 18 years old. But someone said something to me at this stage of my life, and they said, you have ruined all chances of having a bright future. Those are harsh words. And they're even more harsh when they're said directly to you. I was a pregnant teenager, and those words had weight, and they definitely had potential. And my story had all the characteristics of a life of limits and a life of struggle. But you know what? I didn't have the mindset of those low expectations. I did not. I always felt that I had potential. And through a life of hard work, a lot of luck, and a tremendously great family, my naivety in thinking I had potential and not knowing that I couldn't do it and putting one foot in front of the other, and I kept going, and that has led me through a really fabulous life and has led me through where I am today. Thank you.